give the chance of the colleagues who weren't able to join us today to follow up on this event on a later stage. So, distinguished colleagues from the Joint Secretariat of the Interreg Europe program, of the Policy Learning Platform, dear colleagues from the local, regional, and central government institutions, esteemed guest partners in our regional development, welcome. It is my great honor to host you on today's event, and on my behalf, as a national contact point in North Macedonia of the Interreg program, and on behalf of the Ministry of European Affairs, as a national authority of this valuable program for us, to express sincere gratitude and appreciation for joining us today and for your interest to hear and to learn more on the possibilities provided by this program. As your national contact point for Interreg Europe, it has been my privilege and my honor to witness our smooth integration into Interreg Europe program. We joined this program in 2023, just on time to extend the possibility of our potential beneficiaries to apply with their project ideas jointly with partners from all over the Europe for projects on the third call. And I must say it was really successful exercise for us. We got 19 partners approved to cooperate jointly with partners from the region, from the Europe, in 18 projects with total budget of around 2 million euros. So we have proven that our local expertise and our institutions are very much welcomed and very much valued on the European stage of cooperation. Besides these projects, there have been many interregional events, webinars, where our participants have got possibility to learn and to cooperate. But also, I want to mention that Skopje was hosting a regional capacity building event in November 2024, and the topic was very interesting, building thriving innovation ecosystems. I believe that we may continue this practice in the near future as well. I must emphasize that Interreg Europe program, which is one of my favorite territorial cooperation programs, and this is not only because I am the NCP, stands out as a truly unique program. It is far more than just a funding mechanism. It is a profound source of valuable knowledge, best practices, good experience in a broad spectrum of areas. The 6 thematic priorities, which are smart, green, connected, social, citizens, and government, tackle also our national challenges and are in a good correlation with our reform priorities. Thus, it provides a good basis for us for cooperation, knowledge exchange with peers from 27 EU member states, 6 Western Balkan countries, Norway, Switzerland, and from lately Ukraine and Moldova as well. The Policy Learning Platform is an exceptional in its transparency, accessibility, and the depth in its content, setting a gold standard for anyone striving to a good change and to modernization of its policy instruments. I'd like to publicly acknowledge our colleagues from the Joint Secretariat. We have today here Ms. Petra and Mr. Antoine. Your dedication and the tireless effort you put in making the complex EU processes and bureaucracy a very accessible and easy-friendly is a huge benefit for us. And I think this is what it stands behind the successfulness of the Interreg Europe program. Thank you for your continued support and collaboration. Having in mind that the portion of the program funds dedicated for support of traditional interregional projects have been already allocated, the focus of this program by the end of this programming cycle would be more on learning and exchange of experience, and this will be done through the policy learning platform. I'd like to briefly present today's agenda. We will explore the three pillars of success: access to knowledge, access to people, and access to expertise. We will take a deeper dive into the peer review methodology, which is a powerful tool for the strategic transformation of your institutions and improving of your policy instruments. I encourage you to be proactive, to be bold, to ask questions, and to make the most use of the presence of our esteemed colleagues from the Joint Secretariat here today. Ask tough questions. Those are the most interesting ones. And on the technical aspect, I mentioned that the event will be recorded. The working language will be English. You can post your questions in the chat as well. You can do so during the Q&A sessions. But if you feel more comfortable to ask your questions on Macedonian, you can as well do so. I'll be happy to translate into English and to make your voice heard as properly as possible. And one other technical thing, I would like to kindly ask all of us to be muted while other colleagues are talking in order to be better able to hear them. So with that, I'm honored to hand the floor to Ms. Petra and Mr. Antoine. The floor is yours.
Well, dear Savche, thanks a lot for this introduction, and thanks a lot to all of you who joined this online event to learn more about Interreg Europe and mainly about its policy learning platform. My name is Petra Polashkova. I am the communication officer here in the Secretariat in Lille. And I will take a few minutes to present first the program. Savche already did quite a big part, but I would like to go a little more in detail. And then I will look at some of the key services of the policy learning platform, and then pass the floor to my colleague Antoine, who will really tell you everything you want to know, need to know about our expert support services. So let's start. Just to introduce to all of you what is Interreg Europe, because not all of you were probably part of the projects or other information events that Sofia and Natalia were organizing in North Macedonia. I will say a few words. Where do we fit? We, as Interreg Europe, are part of this bigger family of European territorial cooperation programs, which there are quite a number, 86 in total, with the amount of money from the European budget at 10 billion euros. And there are four different strands. You in North Macedonia, I assume you are mainly familiar with the cross-border format when you are cooperating with the territories and regions that are all around you, also supported within the IPA programs. That's the cross-border, when regions on one side and the other side of a border work together, look for joint solutions. The second strand looks at bigger areas. And again, for you in Western Balkans, the area is more around the Adriatic Sea. So that's another area that might be of your interest in the transnational cooperation. And there, the cooperation is mainly focusing on addressing the challenges linked to that specific area. Then it's us. we fit into the interregional. And as Sofia already mentioned, what makes us different from the other strands is this huge reach across many countries. We cover 36 partner states. Sofia already listed them all. And we encourage cooperation among different regions in those 36 countries to make the exchanges as rich as possible. Apart from us in this interregional strand is also URBACT, which is mainly focusing on the cooperation among cities, Interreg, which is rather supporting the existing programs, and ESPON that's doing more territorial analysis studies. And there is also a strand D, which is very specific because it helps cooperation among the outermost regions, which are usually the small island areas, which are part of European Union. It is in France, Portugal, Spain have these small islands, but they're very further away. Still, they are part of European Union and should benefit from the benefits of cooperation. So they have this specific strand for outermost regions. And we as Interreg Europe have some projects that connect these regions as well. Now, what do we as Interreg Europe actually do? Interreg Europe's objective is to improve regional development policies. We want that the strategies and policies implemented at national level, regional level, or local level get better and make lives of the citizens in those towns, cities, regions, or at the national level better. And how do we do it? We do it through transfer of good practices, because we know that the regions all across Europe have similar challenges. And some of them already found solutions to these challenges. So through our program, we want that these good practices, these solutions to the joint challenges are shared broadly across various regions, which then improve the policies in the localities, in the specific regions or cities. We help policymakers to find these new solutions to their challenges. Our program is mainly dedicated to policymakers and the main focus on exchange of experience. So that makes it different from the cross-border and transnational cooperation, where sometimes there is also investment in new infrastructure, which we don't do. Then this is just an image of really the reach of our program. And as Sofia already mentioned, we cover the whole of European Union. That means 27 countries, plus Norway and Switzerland. And then we were very happy to have officially 7 EU candidate countries joining us in 2024. As Sofia said, the first contact, the first cooperation started already in 2023, but we were super happy that this joining process was concluded in 24, and all our partners from the new EU candidate countries could join in cooperation and benefit from all the different services that we offer. The topics, again, Sofia already touched on them a little bit. So the main topic of our cooperation, both in projects and through policy learning platform, the main priority is building capacity. We want the policymakers, those interested in regional policy making, to increase their knowledge, their professional capacity to deliver their work, to work for their citizens. So it's the capacity building, it's these exchanges of information and new ideas that is the main objective of our program. But that opens it to all those different topics that the cohesion policy focuses on. So we want the regions to become smarter and contribute to smarter Europe, greener, more connected, that's connected to transport, be more social, closer to citizens. And we as Interreg Europe have a 6th thematic priority, which is not really thematic because it is very much focused on the administrative capacity. So it could be linked to state aid issues, procurement, procurement issues. So those different administrative issues that, again, policymakers face across different regions. And through our project and the policy learning activities, we address these challenges and try to improve the strategies and policies linked to it. Now, I already mentioned that we have two key ways to do this, to build capacities. One is through projects, through our interregional cooperation projects, and Sofia mentioned that we have 19 partners from North Macedonia benefiting and engaged in these cooperation projects. And on the other hand, we have our policy learning platform. So projects are really networks of a limited number of partners from different regions. It's usually about 8 to 10. And they spend 3 years intensely exchanging experiences and transferring good practices. And then 1 more year following up on the different lessons learned, because their objective is to improve their policies, their strategies through this learning. So those are projects. On the other hand, we have a policy learning platform, and the policy learning platform is trying to analyze what the projects are doing and make the learning available to everyone else. So it is really open to everyone, and most of the services that the policy learning platform is doing can benefit anyone who's interested in regional policy making in those different topics. I will spend now a little bit more time on the projects, but only a little bit, because today we focus on the policy learning platform, but just to understand a little bit where actually the policy learning platform resources come from, and they come from projects. So a few words about our projects. So as I already said, the projects are these partnerships of European regions. Well, it's the policymakers from different European regions who work together for 4 years altogether. I said 3 years is this intense exchange of experience plus 1 more year of the follow-up. And why do they do it? Because they look for inspiration for new solutions to their regional challenges. We had 3 calls open for project proposals, and now we have 262 projects running. And these include over 2,200 project partners from all 36 countries. We have all 36 countries covered, and not only all 36 countries, but close to 90% of the NUTS2 regions, which are like smaller units within each country. So we really cover majority, like almost all of those 36 countries, including the smaller regional units. So it's not only that is the capital that is benefiting. No, it's also all these regions around, and only 10% of these are missing in our projects in terms of representation. At this moment, as Sofia mentioned again, we don't have any more funds for our projects. So this doesn't, we don't have any further projects to run in this programming period. Maybe in 2-3 years, we hope to have a new program with new calls. So those of you who might be thinking that maybe this kind of cooperation might be of interest, keep an eye on us, and in 2-3 years, we might be ready with another call. Here you can also see where are the main priorities of the partners. So you can see that really around 80%, over 80%, look at the green, the dark green, which is the innovation topics. Those are really the smart topics. Then over 37% work on the green topics. So renewable energy, water management, sustainable mobility. And then another 20% focus more their work and exchanges of experiences on the social issues. So you see that those are the majority topics that our program covers through the project. And that's also where the majority of the good ideas, good practices, analysis that then the policy learning platform is passing on to everyone else comes from. But you can see that the other 3 topics are also covered. So all topics are open for inspiration. And now I will look a little bit at North Macedonia. So this is an overview of all the partners that we have in our project. And for Macedonia, being in comparison a small country, you do very, very well with 19 partners compared, for example, to Austria, to Norway, to Cyprus, Slovakia, Estonia, with 19 partners. And as Sofia already said, this is the spread also thematically. So 19 partners in 18 projects. Sofia mentioned a higher budget that is used or committed to these projects, but she included also the co-financing, because the projects do not receive only the money from the European Union. They have to pay part of it from their own budgets, but only a small one. So that's why this amount that you can see is only the money coming from the European budget through our program. So this is the EU Interreg funds committed. You can also see what kind of institutions from your country are interested in the cooperation and engaged in the cooperation. And I think it's a little bit also what we heard from Sofia about your interest in this event, that you have many municipalities that are very engaged, very interested, and we are very happy to see that. And here you can see that it is the local public authorities that are the majority participant in our projects, then followed by the regional public authorities and some national authorities and other relevant institutions. Maybe this is something that you can tell us in the chat, whether you represent a municipality or whether you represent a regional authority, just to tell us who is actually with us. And then, yeah, if you have any questions, of course, put them in the chat for us as well. So this is really the representation of North Macedonia in our program. And this is also where you or your public authorities could contribute to this rich resources with ideas, with solutions for the rest of Europe. Because it is not only that you can find inspiration in the other regions, you can also inspire the other regions, because you for sure also have good practices and good ideas that addressed some challenges that you faced in your regions. At this moment, I will stop maybe for a little bit and ask whether you have any questions. In the chat, I don't see anything. You can also raise your hand, I believe. See anyone? So far, all clear, I hope. If I speak too fast, please let me know. I can slow down as well, but I hope all is going well.
I think you are perfect.
Okay, I hope so. Okay, then, as we said, today is not so much about the projects that Interreg Europe as program is supporting, but mainly about the policy learning platform. So why? Why did we create this policy learning platform? And this year, no, it was last year. Last year, we celebrated 10 years of existence of the policy learning platform. And when we started with it, the idea was, okay, we have all these projects, all these networks working together for quite a long time, putting together various reports and identifying all these good practices that could be used by others. And how can we capitalize on this? So 10 years ago, we started piloting how we can analyze what the projects are doing and turn it into something that can be useful to those who are not in projects. And this is over 10 years, developed further and improve. And so you can now benefit from the existing policy learning platform and the different services that exist. So the why of the policy learning platform is really to share what the projects developed or what the projects are working on. So through the projects, who identify good practices, who share their results, who have people with this increased professional capacity, because through joint work, they themselves learn a lot about their topic. And then they can come to the various meetings, be it thematic webinars or peer reviews, come as peers and actually share their good practice, share their knowledge with the others, so that the others can improve whatever challenge is bothering them in their own region, in their own city. So it is through this project input, the platform services were developed, and most of them, majority of them, are really open to everyone, to anyone who is interested in the regional policy. They can have access to these services and resources that the policy learning platform is developing. So as I already said, who is this for? Really anyone who is interested in regional policies. And why would you want to do it, or why someone would like to do policy learning and get expertise from these policymakers, is to really increase your own knowledge. Because as I said at the very beginning, it is the capacity building which is our main priority. We want to increase the knowledge of all the different public servants, public policymakers that work on those specific issues in their territories. So increase your knowledge. We want you to learn from the others. Another reason why policy learning platform can help is through expanding your networks, finding colleagues, finding partners in the other countries, in the other regions. And again, through exchanges with them, learn how you can improve situation in your own city or in your own region. And what is great, that this expertise is free. So you as public servants, you as policymakers, you as representatives of the different public authorities do not have to pay for this. You can come, discover, browse through all those different knowledge resources, or contact our experts and get the information for free. And now what is included? We have a large variety of policy solutions and also expert services and advice that is available to all European regions. And as I already said, it is the experts. We have a group of thematic experts who work on those different topics, who do look very closely at what the projects are doing, analyze and validate the good practices that the projects are identifying, and then they are able to address your specific challenge, your specific problem that you want to resolve. And if you contact any of them, they are at your disposal, and they can collect this information for you and pass it to you. So we have a nice group of experts. This is something very unique. We've been working with many of these experts really for these 10 years. So they're very experienced. They know our program, they know the projects, they know the topics, not only on the program level, but also at the European level, when they make the connections, like what are the key priorities or key hot topics at the European level. And then they also connect them to what is happening in the projects, which might be very important for you in your country when preparing the accession to the European Union, really learning from all these resources. So that's our team of experts. You can find them again on our website under the team. And if you have a specific policy relevant question, do not hesitate to contact any of them. It's written who is responsible for which topic, so they're available for you. And this brings me to you, because the policy learning platform is here to help you solve your challenges, the challenges that you face in your towns, in your cities, in your regions, but also rural areas. We are not limited only to the urban areas. The rural areas also count, of course. Then what could be some of these challenges. And we already talked about the big topics, but just to give it a little more detail. So among the smart topics, it could be anything linked to research and innovation. And Sofia talked about a capacity event, a capacity building event, and that was on innovation. That was the topic that the policymakers were discussing at that event. It could be about innovation capacities. It could be the needed skills for the smart specialization strategies, things linked to digitalization, but also the SMEs, how to help them, how to improve their competitiveness, how to boost entrepreneurship in the different communities. So those are just some of the topics under the SMART. Similarly, green, a long list of different topics from energy efficiency, renewable energy, to climate change, but also nature and biodiversity, water management, but it could be also the zero carbon urban mobility. This may be a little misleading because we have zero carbon urban mobility, and then we have a topic which is connected, which is about transport. But the transport is more like in terms of infrastructure of the transport. So connected. Again, if there are infrastructure questions linked to transport, how to make more sustainable mobility, maybe across the whole of country. Maybe you want to improve the railway kind of connectedness. This might be one of the topics under connected. Then I can move to the social issues. And again, a large variety of topics, large variety of challenges that you might be facing. Could be about labor, it could be employment, education, social inclusion. Today, we are facing many conflicts. Someone talking. We're facing many conflicts, so integration of migrants is certainly an important issue. If I move then, we have also topics to citizens, which is more linked to urban or non-urban development. And as I already mentioned, the governance is really more on the administrative capacity of policymakers. So huge number, and this is not this is not all the topics that you can cover. It's really your challenge that is important. And if you define it with our experts, they will be ready to send you the relevant resources so that they can help you resolve whatever challenge you face. Then, if I go briefly through all those different resources that we have, that the platform is working on. So we have a lot of knowledge. You can imagine 262 projects running this programming period. We had 258 in the previous programming period. So that's a large amount of knowledge that the people working in the projects gathered. We have good practice database and many thematic publications that are available on our website to anyone who comes. So this is a huge treasure box of policy solutions. The second is access to people. The policy learning platform provides access to our community through different events. These events are very often online, but they can be also in person. And through there, you can learn at online meetings, online events about the good practices, or meet physically people working in projects and then exchange with them directly. And then the third, and I would say probably the most important, is the access to our experts and their expertise. And there, Antoine will go in much more detail explaining how you can actually work with the experts. Now I will say a few words about the different policy solutions. So it's our website that is really the source of information and of the policy solutions. If you come to our website, you can filter by topics and keywords, and it will give you a long list of different available resources, and you can browse through them and see which of them might be of use. This is the view of our website. We will put a link to our website in the chat in a minute. But if you come to our website, you see that the first tab talks about our program. The second is the access to our projects. By the way, all our projects have their websites directly there. So if you're interested in the projects where North Macedonian partners take part in, there you can find them and see which institutions are involved directly in projects. So that's one part. But right next to it is this access to this richness of information. And what do you find there? You find access to over 4,000 good practices. So those are all the different solutions that regions identified that are proven that they were successful. And it's through our experts, thematic experts, the platform experts, who then validate them for you, give an opinion on them, and you can see whether one or the other good practice could be useful to you. So this is a huge, huge resource for you, and again, a lot of filtering is possible. Then we have various publications, policy briefs, stories, and we publish all our webinar recordings. As I talked about the good practice database, here you can see the latest in Europe. So 4,226 good practices. They're expert validated. They're tested by regions. There is evidence of success. And at the end of each good practice, you have contact to the owner. So if you come across a good practice that might be really the useful one for your region, you can then contact the person at the end of the good practice and ask them for more information. And if all goes well, they will be very responsive and help you maybe with more information that you haven't found on the page itself. Again, you can filter through the good practices by the different topics, and then you can view the different results. What could a good practice look like? So this is, for example, a good practice, relatively recent one from someone from, actually it's close by, it's from Serbia. So you see, it's not only the EU countries that are sharing good practices. Everyone has good practices. It's just a matter for which part of the challenge. So I'm pretty sure North Macedonia will very soon have also good practices in our good practice database. So this one is a good practice from Serbia, where they explain how they made one of their hospitals greener. So it's an approach how a public sector can introduce certain measures that will make the use of that specific building greener and less energy costly and more energy efficient. So here in each good practice, first you have a section that describes what is the good practice, what it actually does. Then you have the evidence of success. So they tell you how much CO2 they saved by introducing these measures. And in the end, if you think about public buildings and public services, we are always looking for decreasing the cost or making more efficient use of public resources. So here the evidence of success is with greening this hospital, what did this hospital gained in terms of savings in the use of energy? And then what is the most important, it doesn't only describe what they did and that it was successful, but it also shows how other regions can benefit from it. What potential is there for learning and transfer, and what kind of resources might be needed in the different regions or in the different institutions. Then you find the expert opinion. That's where our platform thematic experts chip in and say, where are the strengths of this good practice and how it could be used by others. And what I said, one of the most important parts is the contact to the good practice owner. So you have an institution who is behind this good practice, and they, I would say 99% should be responsive, or there should be the possibility to contact them and ask them a question. And if they are nice, if they are not too busy, they are likely to answer. So you can have a look when you will receive this presentation. Of course, we will share the presentation with you. You can have a look at this good practice in more detail, but there are plenty more to discover. If I go now more to the different publications, which are really more for reading. So meaning maybe there is a topic that you want to learn on more, again, building your capacity, building your knowledge. We have something that's called policy briefs. And that's where our thematic experts look at specific topic in quite some detail. And they analyze what we have in our projects, but how it links to some of the key topics at the EU agenda. So they describe what the status is at the EU level, and then kind of why is this important now, and then present what the projects are doing in that specific topic. So it's an expert analysis. And it shows, again, the project results and good practices linked to that specific topic. And here you can see on the slide the latest three. So one of them is describing or talking about the labor market integration of displaced Ukrainians. So that's the social topic. The next one is more in the green topic. So it's about energy renovation in multi-apartment buildings. So it's more for living, for people living, not just public services. And the third one from the beginning, published at the beginning of this year, is in the smart topic, and it's about the innovation intermediaries. So about innovation and connecting to SMEs and academia. So if you open this policy brief, which is a relatively brief publication on about 20 pages, which first presents the context of the EU policy and then presents all those different results and examples. It's relatively brief reading where you can learn a lot about that specific topic. So, and we have, I think, over 100 of them available on our website, or close to 100. Then a much shorter reading and really more like an inspiration, a little bit insight of what the projects are doing are our stories. In the stories, our thematic experts always pick something that is inspiring, and it could be a project result. So they describe how a project managed to improve a strategy or policy thanks to the cooperation. Here we have again one of the latest stories about citizens as guardians of urban green spaces from a NEBA project, or they look at a good practice and how different good practices that tackle the same challenge look in different regions. And that's the second case, which is about rebalancing the tourism flows. So if you don't want that tourists come only to one place in your country or in your region, what can you do to maybe show them that there are other nice places where the tourists can go? And in this specific story, they look at Estonia, Poland, and France, how they in the different regions tackled this problem. So it's again a story of success. So those are our stories. And again, there's a number of them that you can filter by the topics that you're interested in. And then another resource, especially if you are new to our program and to the information about a policy learning platform, maybe you missed some of the thematic events that we had, because our online webinars are all recorded. You have access to the recordings. So also, if you find later on in the future a webinar that is of your interest, but maybe you are not available, you don't have to worry, because the recording will be available later. You can watch it later, and again, you can filter through the different topics. So again, these are some of the latest from end of last year. Both of them were on green topics, but they are open to anyone. The only condition here is that you become part of our online community, which means you just create your own account, and that will give you access to our events. So this is up to you with the recordings. You can watch them whenever you like. Maybe at this point, I can stop. Are there any questions about these resources? Has anyone already used it? Just raise your hand whether you used any of the resources, whether you've been on our website. No, nobody? Well, I hope that as Sofce shared the link, that you will be able to have a look, browse through it, and benefit from it. Okay, so now I will move to the second big part of the platform activities, which might be more active from your point of view, because these are events, meeting the community of people that we as program put together so that people can exchange with each other and learn from each other. So what So as I said, we have a community, which we now have over 24,000 people connected to it from all over Europe. They represent more than 16,000 different institutions. Many of them involved in projects, but many of them only benefiting from the platform services, participating in the events. So I hope some of you will become part of the community. Maybe raise your hand if you already are in the community. I'm sure we have someone. Yes, Andrea. Super. Only Andrea? No one else? I suppose we have more than Andrea who is in our community. No? Okay. So at least Andrea, we are very happy we have you. I hope you benefit from the different events and from the different information that's available. So the community is really a rich place with people who are all interested in regional development policies. So this is a great place where you can connect with others and discuss the different issues that you have on mind when working in your different public institutions and authorities. How we connect all these people. It's not that you start contacting each other bilaterally. You could, but what's the main point of our policy learning platform is to bring these like-minded people together in events. And here you see just a little picture of the calendar that shows all the different events that are happening. And if you're in our community, you can sign up to them and take part. And then, of course, once the events are over, we usually have a report or the recordings that you can watch later. The members, we have both people and organizations. And the main point is really to kind of foster collaboration and knowledge sharing among all the different people. And this is a bigger zoom in on the different events. Our thematic experts organize a number of thematic webinars. We usually have several per month. So now, if you look to our website at news and events and you find this calendar and you filter by platform, you see that highlight in red, you should see all the different platform related events that are happening. Then, apart from the online webinars, which is probably easy for you to participate in, we also sometimes, a few times per year, organize workshops, again, thematic workshops, and you are invited to join if, of course, the topic fits your needs. As Sofce already mentioned, the capacity building events. So we had a capacity building event in your country talking about innovation. But sometimes our thematic experts also organize an on-demand online discussions, which are really a small meetings discussing a specific challenge, a specific topic, based on the contact and exchanges with our thematic experts. Sometimes they realize that it's much easier to bring a few relevant people together so that they can discuss the challenge rather than just sending an email with a list of resources. So on-demand online discussions also take place. And this is just a little visual for the capacity building event that Sofia and Natalia organized together with our platform, our thematic experts, which was, as Sofia said, in November 2024. We were happy to have 42 participants from your country. And maybe now, some of you were at the capacity building event. Can you raise your hand? More than one? No? Sofia, tell me, who from the participants was in our capacity building event? Are you not
I think there
remembering?
were more, but maybe they are shy to raise their hand.
Okay, just raise your hand. It's just a click. That's all. Okay. Anyway, we were very happy to be in North Macedonia. It was the first one that we did, and we were very, very happy to bring relevant experts to North Macedonia to talk about the innovation ecosystems and some of the findings, some of the key learnings that people discussed were linked to innovation vouchers to activate the SMEs and strengthen the links between the academia and the industry, and the different tools to mobilize the different actors to innovate better in your country. Again, the resources are all available on our website, so you can go and discover more about this event, about the learnings that I hope are now, some of them are put in place in your country. And with this, maybe you have questions. Maybe you want to know how to join any of the events or anything. You can type the questions in Macedonian if that feels better for you. No questions? All super clear? Okay.
I think your presentation is very, very clear, Petra.
Okay, well, it was my
But
pleasure.
maybe the questions will come up on a later stage.
I hope so. I hope so. I'll pass the floor to Antoine, to my colleague, to go much further. Thank you.
Just to thank
Petra.
you, Petra, for your presentation so far. I think it was really, really very extensive. You shared so much insights of the program. This is very rich program in terms of possibilities for cooperation, in terms of knowledge sharing, access to knowledge and experience. So I think we can freely dedicate today's event only talking about the basics of the program. But I think you are very good in sharing and making clear how this program works, which are the main facts.
Yes, I hear you. Just a second, because I'm on.
Okay. So I believe we can proceed with Anton. Thank you.
Thank you, Tovshes. Thank you, Petra, as well. And dobar dan to all of you. It's really nice to be here, even if only online, and to see so many participants, more than 50. This is quite impressive. So I came to understand that you're a bit shy, but we're not scary. We are here to support you and really to help you in your policy journey. So we also are used to some vocabulary, to using some words that for us at the program level are very clear, but it may not be the case for everyone in the room or for all of the participants. So if when I present you have any question about something which doesn't make sense to you, which is not so clear, or would you like to clarify, please do not hesitate. This is a meeting also for you, so we are really, it's really important that you get the most out of this hour and a half. So don't hesitate to speak also in North Macedonian or to write in the chat. We will be happy to reply, and I'm sure Sofia will help us in this regard. So good morning, everybody. My name is Antoine, and I am thematic manager for the policy learning platform. And as such, I am involved in the different activities that Petra has presented. So access to knowledge, access to people. And what I would like to present to you now is the last part of the platform. Petra mentioned that it's the most important. I don't know if it's the most important, but I think it can be the most helpful to you. And why this focus on access to support, access to expertise? Well, when it comes to the publications, when it comes to the events, the webinars that we are organizing, this is more or less decided from us by the program. We pick the topics, we pick the dates, and we pick the framework. This last part of the policy learning platform, so access to expertise, it's not up to us. It's entirely up to you, meaning that we are here to address your needs and your request. So I'm trying to pass the slide, and there it is. Excellent. So what does this include? In our jargon, and I will try to limit jargon as much as possible, we have three different kinds of services. We have the policy help desk, and we have the matchmakings and the peer review who go together. And I will say a little more about this. But first, let me introduce you to the policy help desk, which is a very transparent name. What it showcases, meaning that this is an opportunity for you. This is a direct line between you and us, meaning that if you have a question about something, you see here at the form online, you also have the link on the slide and you can access it. But you see here, you put your name, you put your email, and you put your question. That's more or less it. So your question can be about a particular topic. Let's say you're working on water management and you want to know what the program has to offer. Let's say you wanted to attend a webinar, but in the end it was not possible for you, and you would like to find the link to get this webinar. This is also something you can ask. And basically, when I present the policy help desk, I present it as really the entry door to the program. It's kind of a shortcut. You may be a bit overwhelmed with all of the resources from the program. Well, it's okay. I mean, we have a lot. And you just say, I am interested in making my SMEs more competitive. How can Interreg Europe support me? What resources do you have? Petra mentioned policy briefs. Maybe we had an event about this topic as well. You write it, and within a day or two, you get personalized feedback from one of our thematic experts sharing with you all of said resources. So it's very simple. Question, answer. And then you have the two other services, which are the matchmakings and the peer reviews. Why do I kind of introduce them together? Because they follow the same logic. The idea is the following. You are a policy authority and you are facing what we call a policy challenge. So maybe I explain a bit what we mean by policy challenge. You want to revise, let's say, for example, your regional development strategy. You want to improve innovation in your country at the level of the ministry, for example. Well, you can request expertise. You saw the picture that Petra showed earlier about our team of experts. We have 13 thematic experts, and you can benefit from these people expertise. So how does it work? Well, either through the matchmaking or the peer review, you submit your request, and we identify within our community of 20,000 policymakers, so this is a big community, people, policymakers, who have been faced with your challenge, who have been in your shoes, who are facing the same problem, but in their own region, in their own city, they have found solutions. So our goal would be to identify these people. We call them the peers, in the sense that they are your peers, so they are facing the same situation as you are. And we bring them to you to exchange, to share, and hopefully to support you. So we have two formats. We have the matchmakings. They are, let's say, the small format. It's 2-hour meeting. Most of the time it's online, but it can also be on site, depending on the situation. And we have the peer reviews, which are taking a little more than that, 2 days. So for the matchmaking, again, if you want to benefit from such a service, it's, again, very simple. You have the link in the slide. And if you click the link, you will see a very basic form where you explain to us your situation. And the moment we receive it, if it makes sense to us, if it doesn't, we can also follow up with a call to clarify with you. But once we agree on your policy challenge, our thematic experts will identify 1, 2, 3 peers from across Europe and brief them, explain to them your situation. So when we organize this 2-hour meeting, they can present to you their own situation, how they faced your policy challenge, the mistakes they made that you should not repeat, the positive outcomes that they got that you can get inspired from. And at the end of the 2 hours, hopefully you get not only some good practices, but also some recommendations that are tailored to your own topic. Let me give you one example. It's the National Council for Higher Education and Science Research of North Macedonia. And they wanted to revise their strategy to make it as much as possible more aligned to EU standards, especially when it comes to higher education. So they reached out to us and they explained a bit their situation. And the moment we understood very clearly what they were looking for, our thematic experts identified 4 peers, a couple from Lithuania, one from the Netherlands, and one from Slovenia. And for 2 hours, they shared insights, good practices, and advices. I have listed here a couple of recommendations, which I let you read, but there's a full report available. You also have the link on the slide, and I think it's very interesting for you to consult the whole report, in the sense that it starts with the challenge, shares good practices from the peers, and at the end you have a set of recommendations that were really tailored to this National Council for Higher Education. So in 2 words, this is the matchmaking. And now I would like to move to the big brother, or the big sister, as we call it, of the matchmaking, which is the peer review. Again, same idea, slightly different format, slightly more comprehensive. This is, I would say, my most important slide, so I would like to spend a bit of time in this. And I think it can be interesting if we go together through the different steps of the peer review, because I mentioned that it's a 2-day meeting, but it's a little more than that. So I also want to share with you how our methodology is functioning and why we designed it in the way, and more importantly, how you can benefit from it. So We start at step 1, which is the application stage. It is your opportunity to submit your policy challenge, I already mentioned. In the case of the peer review, considering that the meeting will last 2 days, we will have a lot to say. Our peers will have a lot to say. So to be as helpful as possible, we need to understand very clearly your situation, your policy challenge. So you do have an application form to fill in. Don't be scared. When I usually say application form, it can be a scary word, especially when it comes to projects. This one is very short. It's very simple. It's 2 to 3 page, and it's quite basic. On top of it, before you have the official submission application through our website, you can even share a draft with us informally, and together we give you feedback and we make sure that the one that you submit will be validated. So already at application stage, we are here to support you. That's step 1. At the end of step 1, hopefully the Joint Secretariat validates your application and we can move to the preparation phase. This one is very important. Why? Because 2 days can be a long time, but it can also go very shortly when you have a lot of things to share and a lot of peers that are ready to share it. So it can go in different directions, and our job at the Policy Learning Platform is that the moment the peers enter in your room, in your organization in North Macedonia, they're fully briefed. They know exactly what you're looking for. They know exactly how they're going to support you. And all of this is happening at the preparation phase. So we ask you for what we call a background paper. It's 10-page document where you provide much more detail about your situation, whether it is your municipality, whether it is your region, what is the political context, what is the geographical context, how your policy challenge fits into all of this. So it's very important and it's very useful for us in order to recruit the peers, because the more information we have, the more relevant the peers we will be able to find be. So what we do is, once we have this information, once we have this very clear idea of what you're looking for, we will launch a call for peers internally at the level of the Policy Learning Platform. We are opening request. I mean, we're opening the call, so we will receive applications from several peers. You also have the opportunity to propose some peers. If you know that one region in Europe is particularly advanced on the topic you want to tackle, you can already mention it, and we can also approach them and ask them to join the peer review as peers. But basically, at the end of the call for peers, we get back to you with a list of applications, peer applications, let's say 10, depends on the number and the topic. And we highlight the one we think are the most relevant, but in the end, it's up to you to make the final decision. Which people would you like to have present? Usually it's 4 to 6 peers for a peer review. Once we have agreed on these 6 peers, our thematic experts will brief them, will ask them for a presentation before the peer review, will review the presentation to make sure that they are answering your need. So when we move to step 3, when we go to North Macedonia, when you go to your organization, well, everything will be clear. People will know exactly what they will share and how hopefully they will be able to support you. So step 3, the peer review itself, it's the big day or the big 2 days. And usually it's divided into, well, 2 days, of course. The first day usually is about sharing and expressing. So it's important for us to have local stakeholders, your local stakeholders in your own context present. because of course it's important that you are present as policymakers, but you're not alone in this ecosystem. So in order to make our recommendations and your policy as efficient as possible, it's important that you are not alone in this decision process. So we usually ask you to bring local stakeholders who are relevant in this topic. And for the first day, you will share your policy challenge once again. Local stakeholders will also have a chance to express what their priorities are, what their challenges are, what they would like to see. And then in the afternoon, most of the times, the peer will share their presentations. So this is not a formal meeting at all. This is more of a discussion between, let's say, colleagues from across Europe. And during this first day, it will be very useful to have interactions. You will have the chance to ask a lot of questions. The peers will also like to understand better some things. So this will lay the ground for the second day. The second day is very important because based on everything that has been said on the first day, together with you, we will make sure to draft some policy recommendations that are answering your policy challenge. So these are not generic recommendations coming from consultants, but these are recommendations that are really anchored in your own territorial context, that are taking into account everything that you have already shared. So the idea is really to make them as useful as possible. And then at the end of the second day, usually we have a session where you can bring higher politicians, higher level politicians. You can bring media coverage if you want. And this is also the opportunity for you to disseminate and to promote these recommendations. So this is also an option that you have. Important information. The way we see this all peer review is that it has to be your meeting. It has to be as useful as possible to you. So we have this methodology, but we are, of course, flexible when it comes to the peers, when it comes to the format, when it comes to the date. And in the end, what is important for us is that at the end of the day, you are able to make something out of it and to improve your policy. And then we have the last phase. We don't want to leave you hanging. Okay, it's been nice 2 days, bye-bye, and then we don't talk to each other. That's not the plan. Usually what we ask is for a first report to see how you will be able to take into account the recommendation, how realistic do you think they are? And after 6 months, we have a phone call to see what has happened. Did you manage to implement some of them? Are you struggling with some others? And then we also have options to really support you in this follow-up phase. So we can have follow-up activities online, on site, but I will not go through this already. So I'm sorry if I spent a lot of time on this one, but I think it's very important and I think it's very concrete. But to make it a little more concrete, let me give you an example that we had not so long ago from the municipality of Prespas in Greece. And it's an example I wanted to share because it can also relate to you. So the municipality of Prespas is located in the bit of between 3 different borders, between the Greek border, the Albanian border, and the North Macedonian border. I think the closest region for you would be the Pelagonian region, city of Bitola, so around this area. And this municipality was facing 2 different challenges. First of all, demographic decline, as there were a lot of people, especially young people, leaving the municipality and the region as a whole. And also they had issues with cross-border cooperation because the border was still closed, but was planning on opening the border in 2027. And to anticipate the opening of the borders, the new opportunities that it would bring, they would need a bit of strategic preparation. So they reached out to us, submitted an applications. Together with them, we identified 6 peers from Germany, Luxembourg, Spain, Ireland, Romania, Portugal, and Bulgaria, which makes 7 peers, not 6. So there is a slight mistake on the slides. And together they managed to talk a lot, to exchange a lot, and to come up with recommendations that would really make sense in this context. So you can see again a few of them, but I would really invite you to check the full report that is available on our website. So maybe it's an interesting example as well, because you can see that the Greeks were anticipating and hopefully trying to prepare for the opportunities of the opening of the border. So I don't know if on your side, the Pelagonian region would also be interested in preparing this as well. It could be a nice idea, but of course it has to make sense in your own context. So this was the example, but this is one amongst many. And this is not the first peer review. We have been organizing. You can see here in this map that over the last 10 years, as Petra was mentioning, no less than 130 were organized in almost all of our countries. So this is a very popular service, as you can see. This number of peer reviews also helped us to improve our methodology to perfect, but we also always trying to improve and to make it as relevant to you as possible. So again, flexibility is important for us. If you want to have an online peer review, it's possible. If you want to adapt the agenda, it's possible. So this is something to take into account. Finally, there are a few important points that I would like to address when it comes to the peer review. And the first one is who can apply for a peer review. Petra mentioned that platform activity and services were open to basically everybody, and indeed this is true. But when it comes to the peer review, our key target groups are the public authorities. So doesn't matter the level. It can be a small municipality as Prespes, it can be a regional authority, it can be a national ministry, but it is important for us that it is the authority who is in charge of the policy they want to improve. Of course, they can bring stakeholders, and it's important, but the one submitting the application has to be a public authority. First point. The second point is that, yes, everybody can apply for a peer review, including project partners, but we want to give the priorities to policymakers that are not part of Interreg Europe projects. That's our priority. Why? Because we consider that through their projects, they are already received some expertise. So to have the expertise coming from the project and then on top of it, adding the expertise from the peer review would be kind of an overlap. And we consider that some regions who are not part of projects have priority when it comes to this, so they can receive it. However, last clarification, it's still possible for project partners to have a peer review. Simply, it should be on a different topic. Wow. Second question, which costs are covered? And this is, I think, quite an important one. And the answer is very simple. We basically cover everything, whether it is catering, local transportation, if there is a need for it. Of course, interpretation, this is something that is also important to highlight. We see a lot of regions in Europe, especially to which the politicians are not so fluent in English or so comfortable. Sometimes they can understand, but they have difficulties to speak it. This is perfectly fine. And this is why we also provide interpretation. And from experience, this is something which works very well. It's not a barrier to the discussions or anything. So this is also something we take care of financially as well. But also for the peers, we cover travel and accommodation costs. We also provide a lump sum compensation for the organization of the peers. Basically, what we would request from a peer review beneficiary is only a room for 2 days, so we can have the peer review. But that is more or less about it. Then we have dinners, but we can be very flexible on this as well. So long story short, no cost related to this service. So maybe let's be even more proactive and explain how you can ask for your peer review if you think that this is something that could be relevant for you, or if you have questions. One thing two messages we really like to showcase every time we talk to policymakers, we talk to members of our community, are this: we are very flexible and we are also very approachable. So don't be shy, we are here to support you. It can be today in the chat through a questions, it can be tomorrow through an email. I will share my email with you at the end of the presentation so you can approach me, but we really here to support our community members, to support you. So if you are interested or if you have questions about this service, please do not hesitate to contact us. Then when it comes to peer review applications, we do not have calls for it, so it's open 24/7. There are no deadlines, no nothing. You can expect a swift response delay, meaning that within 1 month you can have an assessment of your application. Has it been approved? 99% of the time. Has it been rejected? Again, within 1 month. And we really try to make it as tailored to your needs, your situation, as much as possible. So I could talk for hours about peer reviews. I could share a lot of stories of things that happen when you go to peer reviews, friendships that are being made, projects that are created, follow-up activities. There are plenty of excellent examples, but we'll close on highlighting 2 different things. The first one is publications that we have been putting together, which goes a little deeper. I invite you to scan the QR code here and to go through this publication, as it is very interesting. It provides real examples and also testimonies, either from beneficiaries or from peers or from stakeholders. So to make it a little more lively. And I'd like to give the final word to one of our thematic experts, who is Mark Pattinson here. And we have a short video, which I think is very nice, and that will sum up what I've been saying for the last minutes. So hopefully sound works. Does it? It does not. It does not. Okay. So in any case, I can share the link in the chat, so you can listen with the sound. Still, I will play it without the sound, unfortunately, unless Petra, you manage to have it with the sound, or Sofje. But they have subtitles, so we can listen in silence, but you will get the information. So I'll play it and share the link in the chat as well for you to take into account. So let me go from the beginning. Let's go. Here we go. So I think this clarifies a bit and gives a bit more colors to what I've been saying. But again, we have a lot of resources. Before I give the floor back to you, and hopefully there are some questions, some reactions, some remarks with the peer review or the other services that we have presented. One last QR code for you to keep following our activities. We're having a lot of events. We're having a lot of webinars. Publications are coming up every now and then. So if you want to stay tuned, you also, of course, have this QR code you can check. Or we also have more classical links to our website and the different sections. And that will be it for me. And hopefully we can get some first reactions. Is this a service you would be interested in? Is this something you could benefit? I see one hand raised and I'm very happy about it. Koche, can I give you the floor? 2 hands raised, amazing.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Goce Toleski, head of the Joint Technical Secretariat in Struga, IPA Cross-Border Program, North Macedonia, Albania. I had visited you beginning of January in Lille on 14 and 15, yes. And could you please go through the peer review request template for a short? Because I should apply for some, I should create a request. I already have a meeting with Elena and Thorsten, I think.
Very nice.
I was supported by Magda when I was in Lille for these activities, and it's important for me, if it's possible, you to go through the peer review request template just to prepare properly prior to send to you for review.
So you already see that with Koche's example, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 people taking care of you. And now we are here again all together for you, Goche. So very happy to hear about it. I think I will not go through the specifics of your applications right now. I think we can see this more bilaterally together, but I think it can still be interesting for everybody to see the templates of the peer review, what it looks like. So let me download it for a minute, and then I can share my screen. Right, so as I was saying, this is something which is quite straightforward, which does not take a lot of time and resources to fill in. And here I have it. Do you see it on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So for Goche and for maybe everyone who is interested, you see that it's a 4-page document. First section about you. So again, very straightforward: name, email, your organization. Important part: are you a member of a project? Yes or no? And if you are, as I was saying, it's important to demonstrate that the topic of the peer review is different from the topic of the project. Then we move to the second section, which is the policy addressed. So here we talk about the policy instrument, and maybe here it's a bit of a jargon. So to clarify to everyone what we mean by this is your strategy, and this is the policy you would like to improve. It can be a local strategy, it can be a regional development strategy, it can be a S3 plan that you want to change or to design or to revise, and this is what you should put in there. Then you also have whether it's part of the job and growth program, and you also have the opportunity to select more carefully what this means. Last section, your needs, and this is where we expect you to explain your issue, the policy challenge. So provide examples, give some information about the context and what you are struggling with. So the policy issue on which you need advice. Fourth section, what do you expect from this peer review? And here, for example, I expect my strategy to be improved. I expect to have great insights from European counterparts to revise my strategy, these kind of things. And last section is about the expertise you're looking for. You can also input some information explaining what kind of people you're looking for, but you also have the opportunity to suggest, as I was mentioning, some peers or some regions who are very relevant to you, some people you have met in a conference or you have exchanged with, and you think could be very useful to have for 2 days in your peer review. And last section, again, is your time frame. Usually it takes about 6 months, can be more, it can be less, depending on the urgency of your request. But from the moment you submit your application to the 2 days of the peer review, most of the time it's about 6 months. So this is about it. You see that we already at the bottom, 3 pages and 1 slight paragraph, and there's nothing more. So as I was mentioning, it's quite straightforward. And again, this is something we are also able to revise for you to give you feedback on if there is a need for it before you submit officially through the website. And this is exactly your situation, I think, Goce. So maybe you have already prepared something, and together with Elena and Torsten, we will be able to discuss it together with you and to make sure that what you're looking for also fits for the program. So thanks a lot for the question, and we will get in touch very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We already had a meeting with Elena and Torsten.
Okay.
And they agree about our request. We should just formally submit in the application, and we can start.
I think this is again a very, very good comment, as it allows me to be even more concrete. So once you have this application form, which is more or less clear in your mind, you should go through our website and use the relevant section to submit it. And I have pasted this section in the chat. So if you want to submit already a peer review, amazing. And this is how you should do it. Don't forget to log in first to make sure you're logged in before you're able to submit it. But this is it. This is as simple as it gets. And if there are some things you're missing or anything like that, again, we are very much available. So thank you, Goce, and looking forward to receiving your official application.
Dear Anton, I saw there was one question from Alexandra from the Ministry of Public Administration. Maybe it has been already covered. Just to check if her question was related to the workshops that the platform is organizing, and participants are invited to attend, or she was asking about the peer review, which was already fully covered by your site. Alexandra, please feel free to say your word. Okay, then I assume you were asking about the peer review. Thank you. I see your hand raised by Slagjana Angelova.
Yes, thank you, Sofce. Thank you both for a very informative presentation. You have basically answered all of my questions. Still, I have maybe 2 more questions. My name is Slagjana. I work at the Ministry for European Affairs. And I'm basically head of sector for the preparation of the national version of the acquis, meaning the translation, the expert and legal revision of the legal acts of the European Union and relevant national acts. And first of all, I want to ask you, do you see growing interest from administrations in candidate countries in using the policy learning platform services? Okay, well, it's...
Absolutely. This
Yeah.
is something we have witnessed firsthand. Petra mentioned that we opened up about 2 years ago in 2024. I must say it's very different from one country to the other. We see some countries are very interested, some other a bit less, probably because also they know a bit less about it. And this is it's important that we have these meetings with every new partner states to explain to participants how they can benefit from it. But to give you an example, I think last year we had 12 matchmakings I was talking about, and half of them were for Bosnia and Herzegovina. So it's very different, but there is definitely growing interest, and it's also important for us to go to these countries and hopefully to support them. And one thing I didn't mention, and then I'll give the floor back to you, Slatyana, but it's an important message also for me to share. Yes, we are here to support you. Yes, we are here to bring the knowledge and good practices from the rest of the European Union and countries. But we're also very eager to receive your own good practices, your own insight, and your own expertise. So you have the opportunity as policymakers from North Macedonia to participate in these peer review as peers, as experts yourself. And this is something we would also very much welcome. So that was me, but sorry.
Connected to this very topic. You highlighted how the policy learning platform supports the exchange of good practices between administration across Europe and also the candidate countries and vice versa. And I was wondering whether processes related to translation and preparation of national version of the EU acquis could also be seen as an area for policy learning, especially as this work increasingly involves many experts. We are so far also member states, also candidate countries, learning by doing, sharing knowledge all the times, but we don't have any specialized methodology or written practices or anything else. So, and especially as this work increasingly goes to a sphere of digital tools, terminology systems, artificial intelligence, assistant translation, but also public procurement for external resources. So it's a very complex question. So which of the platform services could be most relevant? We could be supportive, a peer review, an expert advice, matchmaking, or we should simply apply it and then to start the processes.
So I think it's an important question, and we do have a lot of expertise when it comes to digitalization. Public procurement was an example that Petra gave to talk about the governance area that we have. Now, related to your question, first of all, I don't think we ever had any requests when it comes to translating the acquis. So I'm not even sure that this is something we would be able to cover, but I think this is a valid request, and we can see to which extent we can accommodate it. But the advice I would give you is start with the policy help desk. This, I mean, we have different services we presented, but again, we are people talking to one another. I mentioned that we're here to very accessible as well. So you send me an email, you send a policy help desk request, a message through the help desk, and then we take it from there. And then we organize a meeting with you to explain, to understand exactly what you're looking for. We spent some time discussing and understanding your issue, and we see if we find the most relevant format through a matchmaking, through a peer review, through something else, I don't know. But again, we are quite flexible, and thanks for the interest, and hopefully we are able to support you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question and everything.
I'm happy about this. But part of the story that we also know that
Maybe I would have one question.
Very nice.
Just to be more clear for the audience with
Please.
relation to the peer review. You mentioned that among your experts, peers from other countries may be also engaged. Can some beneficiary propose the peer, or the peers are exclusively selected and approached by the platform? And
No.
do they need to be from EU member state, or the peer may be someone from the Western Balkan countries, Ukraine, Moldova, Norway, Switzerland? Thank you.
They can even be people from countries that are not part of the EU and of the program area. So we recently have some peers from the United Kingdom who is no longer in the European Union or in the Interreg Europe program. So to answer your question, anyone can be peer as long as they have expertise that will be able to support the beneficiary. Your first question was about whether the beneficiary can propose some peers. Absolutely. I showed the application template of the peer review. And in this template, you have a section dedicated to the expertise they're looking for. And here they also have the opportunity to provide a name, an organization, a peer that they want to be part of the peer review. So absolutely, feel free to propose 1, 2, even 3 or more peers if you have some relevant, of course, people in mind. And they don't have to be from the EU, from the Interreg Euro program. The only criteria that we give is that they should be relevant, and in the end, they should be able to support you and to be helpful. That's it.
One more follow-up question.
Yes.
Is there criteria? I guess no, following your answer, but anyways, do these peers need to be from public administration, or it can be private company experts or whatsoever? Thank you.
So our key mission that Petra highlighted is that we are really here to improve regional policies. So our key targets are policymakers, they are the people we are working with, and because they are the ones in charge of improving the regional policies. So I would say that 80-90% of the times, the peers that we have are policymakers, public authorities. However, depending on the topic, it can be something very specific. I'm thinking, for example, of innovation. Petra had an example of academia and industry cooperation. It's not impossible to have a professor as a peer. It's not impossible to have a head of an NGO as a peer. It's not impossible to have a head of a company as a peer, but this is quite exceptional. And this has to make sense in the topic and in the context.
If I can just add, based on my experience when I went to some peer reviews, one of them was about financial instruments. And there, sometimes it's a bank that actually is implementing something. But I think what Antoine is saying, it's the relevance to the specific challenge that defines a peer, that they have a relevant good practice, they have a relevant experience, they have something that can inspire improvement in the peer reviewed region or reviewed kind of area to improve that situation. So, for example, for the one where I went in the Czech Republic, it was their department linked to environmental issues, but they wanted to finance things through like green vouchers and how to do it. So the people that were sharing experience with them were from financial institutions, so not necessarily public institutions, but with very relevant kind of down-to-earth specific experiences that then help the department on the Czech side to consider how this is doable, what are some resources needed, what are the pluses, minuses, constraints, opportunities to consider when launching something like that. But as Antoine said, the majority are the policymakers, are the really practitioners that are working in public policies on different levels. But for more technical issues, more like specific issues, sometimes it's the peer that doesn't come from a public authority or public institution. It's the relevance. It's the relevance. It's the link with the challenge and their ability to help.
One more question. Do the peer need to be registered as a peer in the platform?
Yes, in the sense that we open what we call a call for peers, a call for applications, so which we send to our community members who are relevant in the topic. And in this call for peers, there are a few questions, meaning depending on the topic, do you have expertise about financial instruments, for example? Have you been working with one-stop shops? What is your experience when it comes to water management? Have you been in charge of, I don't know, mobility for young people programs? So targeted question already that will also be useful for us to select the ones that are relevant. And once we have agreed with the beneficiary on a list of names, they should make sure to register to our community if it's not already the case. Most of the time it's already the case, but if not, we recently have added this step, so make sure they're part of the community.
Any other questions?
Andrea
Yes.
has a question.
Yes, hi. First of all, I would like to thank you both for your very insightful presentations. As newcomers to this program, I have to express our gratitude, especially as a first-time beneficiary in such a very insightful program, which for the first time allows us to learn by example. And really, we are part of 3 Interreg Euro projects as an institution. On different topics. So this knowledge that we're gathering from our partners is really, really something that you can get out of a cross-border program. We're really interested in this platform to get a peer review maybe of our development program, but through your discussions, I just gathered an idea that is it possible for us to use the experts when developing our policy instrument improvements, or is it just only for the peer review part?
So
here, maybe a little clarification, if I can ask. Are you in the project as a project partner or as a discovery partner?
No, project partner.
Project partner. So you have selected your policy instrument that you want to improve already. Okay, in that case, this is the project's work to do it. If you have a different challenge, then it would be the peer review.
So the experts, we can only consult on peer review challenges, let's say that way. No, not while improving our policy instrument, which we already chose during the project application process.
Yes. So basically, you have your project, your 3 projects, which are about 3 different topics or 3 topics, and the expertise you are supposed to receive to improve your policy instrument comes from the rest of the partnership, come from the other project's partner, through study visit, through exchange of experience, interregional meetings, etc., etc. That's it. If you're looking for expertise on a completely different topic that you do not touch upon through your 3 projects, you can request some additional expertise, peer review, etc., from the policy learning platform. But let's keep things separate. any expertise on the topics of your projects comes from your projects. Any expertise on different topics, the policy learning platform can support you.
Thank you.
I hope the projects are giving you a lot of thought, food for thought.
Oh, they most certainly are, especially
Okay.
the one that we have on innovation, which is with what we've been trying to start since 2017. The partnership is really experienced and advanced, so we're really hands-on and full hands-on experience.
Perfect. Perfect.
Very nice.
And we hope we will also have some maybe good practices from you, in these
Yes.
projects.
Would be nice.
We're mostly gathering good practices, especially we're looking forward to hosting them here next year.
Mhm.
And have a good practice transfer workshop. So that's really we're looking forward to doing.
Excellent.
Okay. So not yet, but it's coming.
Yeah,
Great.
next year is going to be a big one.
Amazing. Good
Very
luck.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. We have one question from Mr. Lokman Shakiri, my colleague from the Ministry of Economy and Labor, related to the peer calls.
So thanks for the question. Usually it very much depends on the topic. So depending on the need from the beneficiary, we target people for the call for peers that are members of our projects on the same topic. I'll give you an example. When we have a request for a peer review on flooding or facing climate change extreme situations, we published a call for peers in the sense that we send an email to all of our projects and community members that are relevant on this topic, that are working on this topic. We in this email we say, okay, this email is addressed to you, but feel free to share to any body that is relevant or could provide some interesting expertise when it comes to flooding, for example. So that's 90% of the case. Sometimes it can happen that we do not receive a lot of applications, or the topic is very specific and we're struggling to collect a lot of applications. And in such cases, we can publish the call for peers online on the Interreg website for everybody to see. So most of the time it's targeted directly to community members specialized on the topic, but rarely it can be public to everybody.
If there is a call open for peers, it usually shows up on our website as news. Sometimes they are not like for every single peer review that there is an open call, as Antoine said. It depends on the response rate in a way of relevant people. So this is, so have a look at our website, certainly sign up to the newsletter where we also announce them if around that time it's happening, and have a look, what's happening if you're interested in some of these opportunities.
Any other questions, maybe? If not, then I'll move forward to concluding of today's event. Dear Petra, dear Anton, thank you so much for the extensive presentations you have provided. I think the participants are already overwhelmed of the information and the possibilities that this program is providing. And I truly hope that in the upcoming period, we will try to use it more. And I would just like to repeat some words that were more often used during today's session, like capitalization of project results, expanding networks, knowledge, experience exchange, free expertise, policy solutions, policy instruments, policy makers, evidence of success. just an inspiration for our attendees to think of how this platform may be used by their site. As we saw, although the calls for interregional projects are already finished, there is still a huge possibility for learning, for expertise, for exchange of experience. So I would really like to use this opportunity to invite all our institutions present here today to use this opportunity to share the information with their colleagues. I am, as a national contact point, on your full disposal for any questions that you may have. The colleagues from the Secretariat are as well very accessible. There is a lot of information shared on the web page that you already have the link. So please feel free to contact me for any additional information you may need in order to be, we as a country, more present and more efficient of using of these opportunities. Thank you so much. Thank you, Petra. Thank you, Antoine, once again for your time, for your availability, and for the willingness to present us with so much details and so much information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sofje, for organizing this. I think we are very happy to share this information and bring more policymakers from North Macedonia to our community and benefit from all that we have. Thank you.
Yeah, also for us, it's very nice to see national point of contacts who are so much involved in sharing our tools to their community. So big thanks for your enthusiasm and your professionalism.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Wishing
nice
you all
afternoon.
a nice afternoon, nice day.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.